What is going on? Your boy is back, this time with EX4 alternative being rulings, talking about some of the new and weird cards and interactions in the set. In case you're going to locals or any sort of competitive event, I've got you covered as far as how a lot of these new cards work. Now, I will say that this video will probably be a little bit on the shorter side as compared to some of the past ones, just because this is a smaller set. There's not too many cards I want to talk about, but there are a couple of cool interactions, so let's go ahead and talk about some rulings. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about is going to be the Omnimon Alter S deck itself. Not this card specifically, but mainly it's going to be the evolution lines, the Gurumon and the Greymon line that let you digivolve into other Digimon via their own on-evolve effects. So what I wanted to talk about is kind of just orders of effect resolution. So let's say I've got this kind of situation where I've got the Dual Tamer, I've got a Gabumon in play, and what I can do is go ahead and digivolve this Gabumon into something like, let's say this Garurumon for a cost of 2, just paying its evolution cost and drawing just like normal. Now what I can do is I've got a couple of effects that are going off here. I've got the Garurumon when digivolving, and then the effect of the Matt and Tai Dual Tamer once per turn when one of your Digimon digivolves. So I can choose to resolve this one first. I'm going to go ahead and do that once per turn when one of your Digimon digivolves. If you got one or fewer in play and that Digimon has a Greymon's name, you can play Gabumon, or if it's got Garurumon, you can play an Agumon. So let's say in this scenario I digivolve the Garurumon, I can go ahead and play the Agumon out for free, and then at this point the newest effects will trigger first. So even before the Garurumon's one digivolving, I'll get the on play from Agu as well as the first effect of Tai and Matt. When you play an Agu Gabu, suspending this Tamer, gaining memory. So what I can do is choose to resolve those in any order. I'm going to go ahead and suspend this, gain in memory, and then utilize the on play effect, looking at top 3, grabbing whatever I want. So we can go ahead and grab a Metal Greymon here, and then I think it also searches a Gabumon. Yep, so we can go ahead and take that as well. And then what's going to happen now is finally the Garurumon effect is going to activate because of the fact that there were no trigger conditions on this effect. I didn't have to have any sort of condition in play. I could just activate this. I could just trigger this even without there being a Digimon on my field when I did trigger it, if that makes sense. So now I'm going to finally resolve it. So I'm going to go ahead and digivolve this Agu into a Greymon for -2 cost. So we're going to go ahead and do this for a 0 cost. And then now because of that, I can trigger both this one digivolving effect as well as this Gabumon and Sunamon effect that say when one of your other Digimon digivolves. So I can go ahead, you can go ahead and do the draw before the actual effect resolves. And then we're going to go ahead and do Greymon's effect, doing the Garurumon into Weragurumon, of course, for a -2 cost. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing once again, being able to then use the Weragurumon, digivolve this into a Metal Greymon for -2 cost. Yet again, using the Metal Greymon effect. And then, of course, because this one saw the Weragurumon evolving, we will also gain a memory. And then using this effect to digivolve, let's say, into Crest Garurumon here. And then Crest Garurumon does cost 4 normally, but digivolves for 3 on top of Weragurumon. So the evolution cost would be 3, but of course Metal Greymon makes a -2. So it actually only costs 1 memory to do that. Yo guys, just real quick, Future Donkey Nog here. Right now you're going to see me trigger the Crest Garurumon's effect and evolve the other dude into Blitz Greymon. This is all fine and dandy, but just want to point out that if you look at Crest Garurumon and Blitz Greymon, their effects do not reduce the cost by 2, it just makes it a free cost. So ignore the memory marker for a second. Basically, once you hit that Crest Garurumon, you evolve it for 1, and then Blitz Greymon will cost 0. So it's actually much better than I initially thought. But yeah, just keep in mind you get to free evolve any Garurumon or Greymon. And then finally, utilizing the Blitz Greymon effect. In this case, you could do something like, since I'm at 0 memory, I could just go ahead and do de-digivolve 3 of your opponent's Digimon. Since there's only 1 target, I can just go ahead and do this. And then finally, now I can go ahead and DNA digivolve blue on top of red into my Omnimon Alter S. And then, of course, utilize its ability to be able to kill something at 8,000 DP or less. So let's say kill this Terriermon, and then go ahead and bounce a level 6 back or higher back to the bottom of the deck. Of course, no targets on that one. Of course, all of these once per turn inheriteds do reset, so maybe in this case, if I had like another Digimon in play, like let's say this Gabumon was, like I had 3 extra memory or something, I could play this Gabumon, and then go ahead and digivolve that into like a Greymon, and then it would trigger this effect of the Agu, this effect of the Gabu, as well as this effect of the Tsunomon, being able to get me another 2 memory and an extra draw. So yeah, lots of cool stuff this deck can do, but I just wanted to talk about like how you can order the effects, not only just because it's a little bit confusing, but also to play the deck optimally. The last thing I want to talk about in regards to this deck is going to be Omnimon Alter B, because this card did confuse me quite a little bit with its when attacking effect. So let's say in this example I'm starting at 2 memory or something, I've got this Omnimon Alter S on field, and then this guy has the evolution condition Digivolve 2 from level 7 if name contains Omnimon. So what I could do is go ahead and Digivolve this for a 2 cost on top of my Alter S, and then utilize its first one Digivolving effect, being able to Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, and then choose any number of Digimon whose total play cost is 6 or less and delete them. So like, let's say once again, maybe my opponent's got these 3, it had this Gargomon on top, I can Digivolve it. It only had 1, so it just stays back at rookie, and then these total up to 6, I can go ahead and delete them. So first effect, pretty self-explanatory. But what I want to talk about is going to be the second effect. So let's say on my opponent's field there are going to be 3 things of differing play costs. So what you can do, and let's say my opponent's got, I don't know, let's say they've got 2 security left in their security stack. Just for argument's sake, what I can do is go ahead and swing security and then utilize my Omnimon's Alter B's. When attacking, it says that by trashing up to 3 level 6 or higher cards from the Digimon's Digivolution cards, being this one, as well as BlitzGreymon, what you can do is then delete one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers with the lowest play cost, and then if 3 are trash, you trash the top 2 cards of your opponent's security stack. So what I want to point out is that this effect kind of works in sequence, where basically if you are trashing more than one level 6 material, you get to choose an additional card that wasn't already selected. So what I mean by this is, let's say I swing security, I'm just going to choose to trash 1 because I can choose up to 3, so I'm going to do at least 1 if able, up to 3. So I'm going to go ahead and just trash this Alter S, and then what I can do is delete 1 Digimon with the lowest play cost, 1 Digimon or Tamer. So this thing has play cost 3, so it is going to be the lowest thing on my opponent's field, so this is going to be deleted. That is the end of story. However, if I, let's say, choose to trash 2 materials, what's going to happen is I'm going to choose the Terriermon to be deleted, and then the next lowest thing that wasn't already targeted is going to be the Tarurimon. So both of these in that scenario would then be deleted. And then in the last scenario, what you could do is you could trash these 3 cards, deleting all of my opponent's Digimon and then trashing their last 2 security and then swinging for game. Another thing you could do is, like, let's say if my opponent had, I don't know, 3 security on field, what you could do is when attacking, you could trigger both of these effects first. So like, let's say they had something else I want to get rid of, so I could do Kreskarumon's when attacking first. So you could do Kreskarumon's effect if this Digimon is Omnimon's name, bottom deck a level 5 or lower, so I could go ahead and do that effect first. Let's say this goes to the bottom of the deck. And then you could do BlitzGreymon's effect if the Digimon's the Omnimon, trash top card of your opponent's security. Okay, so 1 security card is trashed. And then you can do the one attacking for Alter B. Let's go ahead and trash all 3 of those to then use the effect. So in this case, there's only 1 thing left on my opponent's field. That's just going to die because it's the lowest play cost. And then they are going to lose 2 security cards because 3 cards were trashed, so then thus finishing out the game. If you do try to do this in the opposite order, like if you try to do Alter B's effect first by trashing these, you will not be able to use either of these 2 inherited effects because they are no longer a part of this Digimon, so you wouldn't be able to activate them because they're not underneath your stack anymore, because they're gone when you resolve the first effect. So just keep in mind, you usually pretty much always want to resolve these effects first. Okay, so the next set of rulings I want to talk about is going to be featuring the Alliance keyword. So this keyword is self-explanatory, I think relatively so. This keyword says that when this Digimon attacks, so it triggers just like a when attacking effect by suspending one of your other Digimon in play, add the suspended Digimon's DP to this Digimon, as well as gaining Psych Attack +1. For the attack is the key word here. So if, let's say, My opponent's got something, I don't know, like this 8000 DP Digimon. What you could do is, of course, go ahead, attack with this Antilamon. Since it does have this ability, Alliance, I can trigger this to suspend the Terurimon, giving it plus 4000, putting it to 12k, sec attack plus 1, and then something maybe like this Inherited effect would trigger, being able to then give it an additional 2000, putting it to 14k, and then the battle would happen. This would go ahead and get deleted, and then at the end of attack, because I'm at 0 security cards after that's done resolving, I could go ahead and get recovery plus 1, putting this on top of my security stack. So again, relatively self-explanatory, nothing crazy going on there. Next thing I want to talk about is going to be the inherited effects. I think this is common to the line Terriermon Assistant as well as the Lotmon. Both have this really long looking inherited effect. Basically, this effect says that when you suspend a Digimon for an Alliance skill, you may Digivolve this Digimon into a 2-colored green Digimon card in your hand, paying its Digivolution cost, of course, -2. So maybe if you had something like this black Rapidmon in hand, what you could do is go ahead and swing security with the Terurimon, and then using Alliance, you could go ahead and suspend the Terurimon. And then what you could do after that is, because this inherited side, or this one, whichever one you want. So like, let's say I want to use the Lotmon effect first. I would be able to then Digivolve this Digimon is to a 2-color green Digimon card in the hand, but since I don't have a level 6, I wouldn't be able to evolve the Antilamon. Then we go over to Terriermon Assistant, and then of course it was suspended for an Alliance skill. You may Digivolve this Digimon to 2-colored green Digimon card, -2, so then of course just paying 1 cost, what I can do is go ahead and Digivolve this, of course draw my card, and then I would get any on Digivolve effects from this Black Rapidmon, but of course that doesn't really happen. And then finally the security attack would go through with that. Now what I do want to point out is that even if this Digimon does Digivolve, so like in this scenario this was Digivolve into Black Rapidmon, because you already triggered the Alliance skill, you will not get a plus 8000 boost like because of the Black Rapidmon's DP. You will get the plus DP boost of whatever Digimon you suspended via the Alliance effect. So at this point the Antilamon is just plus 4k from that, and then of course in this scenario plus 2k from this inherited, but the point is it doesn't gain the plus 8000 from these Black Rapidmon because it was evolved after the fact. Last thing I want to talk about is, let's say in this scenario I'm going to go ahead and attack security with this effect, and then the security effect is going to be a Chikurimon. So Chikurimon does have the security effect where it says at the end of the battle trigger Digivolve a 1 on one of your opponent's Digimon. So what happens here is that this effect of course triggers as the first thing that happens in a security battle. So what will happen is my opponent will choose, let's say they choose the Antilamon to be Digivolve. Because Alliance was already triggered before the hand, and it gains the DP for the turn, and it gains sec attack plus 1 for the turn, this will not stop this now Black Gargomon from checking the remainder of my opponent's security, again at an additional DP boost because Alliance was already triggered. So it will actually just check the second security card. Speaking of Medieval Gallantmon, real quick, I just wanted to go over how this card's security effect does work. So pretty self-explanatory, similar to that Omnimon's Rort defeat effect where it plays it without battling and without paying the memory cost. So anything running into security won't battle it, so even if it's like something weaker, it won't die, and then return this Digimon to its owner's hand at the end of the turn. That's the kind of key point I want to mention. So picture this, let's say it's my turn and then I swing into security, and then I hit a Medieval Gallantmon, my opponent gets to trigger that security effect, they get to play it for free, resolve its on play effect, and then after that I'm just going to play a Gaia Force to pass turn to delete my opponent's Medieval Gallantmon. In this scenario, or just any scenario where Medieval Gallantmon leaves the field before the end of that turn is reached, you will actually not be able to add it back to its owner's hand. The reason for this is because this card says return this Digimon to its owner's hand and does not specify return this Digimon card to its owner's hand. A little bit of a distinction. Again, I think that's more easy to see in the Japanese version of the cards, but basically saying that it's only treated as a Digimon while on field, whereas Digimon card refers to something that is in any other area like the trash or the deck, or hand or anything like that. So because if it leaves the field, it will no longer be a Digimon, even though I know that's a little bit weird to kind of accept. Basically, this card needs to remain on the field to be able to resolve that last portion of the effect. Now, the last ruling I did want to talk about involves a card that is very near and dear to my heart. Deck that I love very much is going to be ShineGreymon, and the main perpetrator here is going to be ShineGreymon Ruin Mode. So, not really this card's end of attack effect. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. You delete this, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. Of course, you do as much as possible. So, like, let's say my opponent didn't have a Digimon, you would still attempt to delete one of theirs. You would still recover. And then if you have a tamer in play, hatch a Digi-Egg. If your breeding area isn't empty, then you don't hatch anything. So I think that part most people kind of understand. The part I want to talk about is going to be the when Digivolving on deletion effect is all of your opponent's Digimon get minus 5,000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. So this is what in Digimon is called a global effect. That is a blanket effect that affects anything that would come into play, because it is worded in the sense that it says all of your opponent's Digimon. Other cards that are worded like this that people kind of are already familiar with is going to be something like Venusmon. Venusmon says when Digivolving, all of your opponent's Digimon get Sec Attack -1. So like, let's say my opponent had Digivolved this, and like I play out this Agumon, it has Sec Attack -1, even though it was played out after the fact. It wasn't on field, it didn't see Venusmon, but it is still affected by the fact. Ice Wall is another good example. So in this scenario, let's go ahead and say I'm going to, let's say this is my opponent's hand, let's say I'm going to go ahead and Digivolve this ShineGreymon Ruin Mode for a cost of 5, draw my card, and then on Evolve, I'm going to trigger that effect to give everything minus 5,000. So now it's my opponent's turn. They're going to go through their phases, of course, draw, unsuspend, hatch, and whatever. This Venusmon is currently at 7,000. And then what is going to happen is my opponent is going to attempt to play the Salamon. So they're going to play this for a 4 cost. Of course, at the moment they play it, it is 0 DP, and 0 DP Digimon cannot exist in the battle area. So it will immediately be sent to the trash, being deleted by game mechanics. Now, of course, being deleted by game mechanics does trigger on deletion effects, so at this moment they can then trigger Salamon's effect to get that recovery +1 since they're at 3 or less, and then passing the turn. That part, okay, that makes sense. What about if they played something like this Agumon? I don't know what kind of deck they're playing with black eggs and whatever, but let's say they played this Agumon, what is this, BT12 Agumon, on play, reveal top 4, add a Greymon, add a Marcus, you know the drill. Anything with an on play is kind of what I want to talk about. So again, let's say I put them to 2, I evolve the Ruin Mode, and they're going to go ahead and play this Agumon for 3. At this moment, there are 2 things happening. First, the Agumon's on play triggers, but also the 0 DP, it drops down to 0 DP because of that global effect. The 0 DP will always take precedence if it is happening at the same time as another actual effect. So what will happen here is Agumon will be at 0 DP, it will be deleted by game mechanics first, and then its on play will trigger. However, you cannot activate, you cannot resolve the on play effect because it is no longer in the place where it needs to be in order to trigger. This is kind of similar to when you move things from trash that need to be in the trash to resolve on deletion effects, but in this case something that has an on play effect needs to be on the field to trigger that on play effect. So in this case, if you do play into something that has 5,000 DP or less that will drop to 0 underneath a Ruin Mode, it will automatically be deleted and you will not get its on play effect. Another similar effect would be maybe like a start of main phase effect. I don't know if there's any real rookies that have that. Oh, I guess the new Agumons do have that. Yeah, so something like this. Like let's say my opponent has this Koromon, and they've got this Agumon in play, and this Agumon does have the start of main phase effect where it says if you have a red or yellow tamer in play, gain 1 memory. So let's say they had a red or yellow tamer in play. Let's say they had something like this Taikari on their field. So I'm going to go ahead pass turn with Ruin Mode, and then they're going to go ahead and start of turn, of course, trigger this effect, whatever, they go to 4, and then start a main phase, or their breeding phase rather, they're going to go ahead and move this out. Then in their breeding phase, they're going to move out this Agumon. However, still in the breeding phase, this Digimon drops to 0 DP and it will be deleted by game mechanic, sending it to the trash, and then once they reach their started main phase, they will not have that effect to be able to trigger on the field, guys. So that's pretty much all of the rulings I did want to talk about. The last card I did want to mention is going to be ShadowSeraphimon. The really only thing I wanted to mention about this card is that it's not once per turn, so the opponent's turn effect when a card is removed from your security stack, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, works as many times as the condition is met. So let's say your opponent had a card that was checking 5 cards and you're at 5 security, they swing, they resolve all their 1 attackings, whatever, and then they hit that first security effect. The first thing that will happen is that security cards, or that card in security's security effect will trigger if applicable. So let's say there's a Gaia Force or something, it would then delete their Digimon. You have nothing on field to be able to de-digivolve one of their opponent's Digimons, or field's empty, whatever. That kind of makes sense. But then the next part is kind of if they, let's say there's 5, it's just the Digimon or something. As soon as that security effect is finished happening, if applicable, you will then trigger the pending effect of ShadowSeraphimon to de-digivolve that Digimon or whatever Digimon you want to devolve. And then let's say if another security check happens from the same Digimon, still like on the same attack, you'll do the security check, any security effects, you'll do this pending effect, devolve something, and then the battle will happen. So it's similar to ShineGreymon X, if you guys are familiar with that card, or Dynasmon or something. Anything that's kind of has a pending effect, PhoenixMon, that would resolve via a security card leaving, a security basically. So just kind of wanted to talk about ShadowSeraphimon. But guys, basically that is going to be the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you have any ruling questions down in the comment section below. I'd be more than happy to answer them. But for now, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.